All-Star Woody Williams will play the role of stopper tonight for the Cardinals. The former Padre hurler needs to pull the Redbirds out of their funk against teams from the NL West. Stay tuned and watch the Cardinals' 11-game winner take to the mound tonight from Busch Stadium. Frustration lately here in downtown St. Louis, and another hot, steamy night at Busch Stadium as the Cardinals welcome San Diego to town. Against the West, how frustrating has it been? The Cardinals just 3-11 so far this season against the National League West. Another one comes to town, this time Game 1 against San Diego. With Al Hrabosky, my name is Dan McLaughlin, and we welcome you to Cardinal Baseball. The Cardinals just one game above the 500 mark. They're 2 games out in the Central. Those are the negative things, 3-11 against the West. The one positive, and really right now, Al, the one reliable guy that you can count on in that starting rotation is Woody Williams, and he gets to start tonight.
11-game winner. He won his last time the day he found out he was going to go to the All-Star game. But right now, we just need more than Woody Williams. He is Mr. Dependable, and we ask him to be a big guy today and stop the losing streak.
It's been amazing since his acquisition with the Cardinals, 27-8. And I'm sure if San Diego could turn back the clock and not pull the trigger on that deal, they'd say, we had no idea that Woody Williams was going to be this good. Ray Lankford is out of the game of baseball, and Woody's an all-star this year for the first time.
Talked to Bruce Bochy. He even had his pitching coach call Woody and say, well, what did Dave Duncan do? Is there anything you're doing differently? And it really isn't so much. It's preparation and it's execution on Woody's part, but he hasn't learned a new pitch. He hadn't really done anything. He's got a much better team behind him.
Well, Woody Williams gets the start tonight. He'll go against Brian Lawrence of San Diego. We'll talk about some guys in this lineup that have had success against the Padres. Edmonds, one of them. Paul Merrill, another. No Pujols tonight, though. More on that in just a moment. Tonight, game 1 of 6 between these two teams this season, and game 1 of a 3-game set before the All-Star break. Al and Dan back with you here on Fox Sports Net. Let's also talk a little bit about the fact that Albert Pujols not in the lineup tonight. No injury or anything like that, but he is, by his standards, been slumping a bit. So Albert, a night off, he'll come off the bench and be a pinch hitter. But 2 guys that have really had success, Al, against San Diego. Number 1, Jimmy Edmonds. The other one, Orlando Palmeiro.
We need a few more guys, but you're right. Some of these guys definitely need a rest. They're going to try and rest all the All-Stars, but Jim Edmonds right now, when you look at these career numbers, you don't want to rest him. And Palmeiro, what would we be without his bat? He has really provided a boost in those games when JD couldn't play.
And for Edmonds, Jimmy with 27 home runs, 1 behind Bonds in the National League. This is our 4th key matchup in St. Louis since the 29th of September back in 1999. The Cardinals are 10-1 against San Diego, and pretty impressive numbers there offensively for the Birds.
Well, they just dominated in all different ways against this ball club, but you know what? This ball club, the Padres, may be last in the West, but they're starting to play pretty good baseball.
In particular, away from home. They've won 6 of their past 7 away from Qualcomm. Woody Williams looks to join the ranks of 12-game winners. Woody, the All-Star, a start tonight here in St. Louis. Cardinal Baseball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste, it won't fill you up and never lets you down. Make it a Bud Light. By your local St. Louis Chrysler Jeep dealers, the official automotive sponsor of the Cardinals. By Auto Tire. For straight talk and the lowest bottom line price, you ought to go to Auto Tire. By Pennzoil, protection for the way you drive. Pennzoil, we're driving protection. And by Southwest Airlines, bringing people together with low fares. Well, the umpires are on the scene. Behind the plate, Mike Fichter, Andy Fletcher at first, Mark Carlson, the second base umpire, and Daryl Cousins will be the third base umpires. Tony Muser meeting there with Tony La Russa. And we're just about set to go. 3 games left before the All-Star break as the Cardinals are limping towards the break. This has not been easy as of late with 4 straight losses. And they start tonight 2 games out in the National League Central Division. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the San Diego Padres. They are near or at the bottom in just about every category. Offensively, defensively, pitching, whatever you want to call it. They have struggled this year. Southwest Airlines starting lineup: Kotze, Loretta, Burrows, Hanson, White, who's an all-star, Matthews, Vasquez, Bennett, and Lawrence. Around the Horn is brought to you by Auto Tire. And the Cardinals defense, third from the top in the National League. It'll be Tino Martinez and Bo Hart on the right side of the infield. The Gold Glover, Scott Rowland at third base. Another Gold Glover at short, that's Edgar Renteria. We showed you the numbers offensively for Paul Merrill. Very good against San Diego. A start in left field tonight. Edmonds with 27 home runs, just one behind Barry Bonds and Carlos Delgado for the major league lead. He's in center. And good to see J.D. Drew make a start. He is in right field. Behind the plate, it's Mike Matheny. And that's our auto tire around the horn. Our Chrysler starter. And what a story he has been. A chance at 12 wins tonight. It's Woody Williams for St. Louis, Al.
Oh, he's named to the National League All-Star for the first time in his career. He has been a savior. The Cardinals are 12-6 in Woody starts, but even he has been roughed up of late as he's allowed 5 or more runs at 4 of his past 7 starts. But he did win his last time out at Chicago, where he allowed only 1 run. But his ERA has been on the rise. It jumped from 1.99 on June the 5th to a season high 3.18 tonight.
Mark Kotsay will lead things off for San Diego. Cardinals losing 2 straight to San Francisco, 2 straight to the Dodgers. They are just 3-11 against the West this season. And right now it looks like the wild card is going to come from the West. 85-mile-an-hour fastball and a strike from Woody to Mark Kotsay, and we're underway. It's 7-11 here in downtown St. Louis. And it's July 11th. Pop foul and out of play as this crowd's starting to file in here to Busch Stadium. 25,000 plus expected. We talk about the Cardinals defense, 3rd behind San Francisco and Philadelphia. 986 fielding percentage behind Woody Williams. 88 degrees, warm and muggy here at Busch Stadium. That misses just in.
See Woody jumping out ahead. Walks very few, allows few home runs. Last 10 games.
And a swing and a miss. Expecting something else outside of that fastball, and strikeout number 1 this evening for Woody. Good start.
That's so much of his repertoire is having guys off balance. Look at there. You see where Matheny is? You can watch this all night. How many times does Woody Williams hit Mike Matheny's glove? There's the numbers last Sunday when he won in Chicago. But a lot of the Cardinal pitchers just do not execute on the corners. Woody almost always does.
Here's Mark Loretta. Lots of trade rumors circulating Mark Loretta, the 3rd baseman for San Diego. Chicago has been rumored to be after him. He's got a 10-game hitting streak. This is the 2nd double-digit hitting streak he's had this season. The 0-1 pitch.
I was a little surprised, but Bruce Bochy told me, he said, when Vigna went out, he halfway expected to lose his productive hitter, Mark Loretta, to the Cardinals.
Is that right? When the Cardinals talked about Eric Young, Loretta's name was brought about, but never seriously. And at this point in time, Al, no need with Bo Hart at second base in the way that he's played. The 0-2 pitch. 1-2 on Loretta with Sean Burrows waiting on deck. Loretta can play second base. He can fill in at first. He can play third base. Remember, he was with Milwaukee and then Houston, signed as a free agent with San Diego. 2-2 the count.
He has played shortstop, but that's not a position you'd like to leave him at.
Right. He is playing second base here tonight, batting .318 on the season, 9 for 13 in his last 3 games. We're catching San Diego, Al, at a bad time. This team is starting to play pretty well.
Yes, they are.
Only 35 wins on the season. They're 21 games out. They got off to a miserable start, but much better as of late.
Well, you talk about Bochy's team, whether it's pitching or offensively, every month they've gotten a little bit better. ERA's gone down every month. The offense has come up, and batting averages come up each month.
2 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out, nobody on. And tied him up a bit and popped out. Shallow center. Edmonds, 2 outs. At the age of 36, Woody Williams headed to the All-Star game. A guy that has been there before is Matt Morris. He will not go this year, and that's a good thing right now, I think, for the Cardinal right-hander who needs to just get away from the game of baseball. And in talking with him, he's looking forward to the break. He's going to get out of town. Doesn't want to see a baseball. Doesn't want to talk about baseball. And maybe that's the right thing for Matty Moe, as he has been struggling. ERA over 9 in the month of June, and obviously not one of his better starts last night with 5 runs in the first against Los Angeles. And the first pitch is popped up by Sean Burroughs. Renteria puts it away in a 1-2-3 inning for Woody Williams. Jimmy shading from the sun out there in center on out number 2. There's no score. A look at the Cardinals lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. The red hot Scott Rowland right in the middle of things. It'll be Bo Hart, Palmeiro, Edmonds, Martinez, then the Cardinal third baseman Drew, Renteria, Matheny, and Woody Williams. Our Southwest Airlines starting lineup. Around the Horn is brought to you by Auto Tire. It'll be Hansen, Dave Hansen at first base, Mark Loretta the second baseman, Sean Burroughs, we saw him in the top of the first, he's the third baseman, Vasquez the shortstop, Rondell White is out there in left field, Mark Kotze, the former Marlin, is in center, and Gary Matthews Jr. is in right. Behind the plate, Bennett, our Auto Tire Around the Horn. Here's Bo Hart, 3 hits last night. The first pitch, a fastball in there for a strike. Our Chrysler starter, he is 5-9 on the season, and that is Brian Lawrence for San Diego.
One thing to note about him, he has a great sinker and gets a lot of ground balls.
Like that, and off the third baseman, Burroughs, and into the seats, and Bo Hart starts things off with a hard hit ball. He'll wind up at second base, and a good start for Bo. That was a rocket. And the third baseman Burroughs was playing in and even with the bag. Matter of fact, may have even been on the grass, and Bo hits a rocket to him, and he couldn't handle it.
Couldn't handle it, and he's shaking his hand out a little bit. First pitch, just a rocket right at him. Burroughs is very intriguing. Hits him on the bare hand, maybe the wrist. As you see him grab it there, you see that bad hop it has. They have replaced the infield grass here at Busch Stadium, and then during the All-Star break they will replace the outfield grass. So it's still a new plain surface, and we've seen more bad hops in the last couple days than we saw in quite a while.
Vasquez, the shortstop, playing behind Bo Hart, so there's room left side with the third baseman moving in, expecting a possible sacrifice here. And here's a look at Burroughs rubbing his wrist, and that's what you're talking about, a bad hop that hit off that bony area of the wrist and into the seats.
You remember his father?
I remember him, yeah.
1974 American League MVP,
sure.
Jeff Burroughs.
Palmeiro bunts it foul.
Striking the facial resemblance.
Almost identical. I was reading an article on Sean Burroughs, and they had his dad's picture in there.
Sure.
At about the same age. I mean, it was unbelievable. 1-1 to count on Palmeiro. Against the Padres, we talked about he, along with Edmonds, who's on deck, and the great success that they have had against San Diego. A .345 average for Palmeiro. That'll get the job done. Hart will move up from second to third base. Palmeiro is the first out. And Bo Hart was a little indecisive with that ball initially off the bat, but winds up at third.
It's almost a swinging bunt, so it took him a while to realize that it was not going to carry to the pitcher where he'd be trapped off. So a little tapper out here, just as good as a bunt, getting him over to third base, so a productive out.
And here's Edmonds, 27 home runs. He'll take part in the home run derby on Monday night in Chicago, along with Albert Pujols of the Cardinals. Barry Bonds along with Carlos Delgado, both with 28 home runs, so just one ahead in the major league lead. And a chance for the Cardinals to jump out on top. Edmonds looks at a ball, an 84-mile-an-hour off-speed delivery. Jimmy batting .302, an 8-game hitting streak. Pair of home runs and 7 RBIs during that hitting streak. And 66 on the season, which is good enough for the top 10 in the National League. 2 balls and no strikes with Bo Hart, the runner at third base, and 1 out.
Cardinals need to jump out and get to a lead, take a little pressure off.
Two and 1.
Danny, it's not surprising the last 2 games, and not to make excuses, but Cardinals falling behind 5-0 in both games to LA before they even got to swing the bats. And when you're tired and you're banged up the way they are, it's hard to battle back. Yesterday they battled back, but Matt just couldn't right the ship.
take that point even a step further. Against San Francisco, in just one of the 6 games did the Cardinals have a lead, and that was on the 4th game of that 4-game series here at Busch, and then they were beaten 2 straight on San Francisco. So they've been playing catch up for the better part of 2 weeks.
Right.
By the way, Dontrell Willis has been added to the All-Star roster for the National League, replacing the injured Kevin Brown. Just missed inside, and Edmonds draws a walk, and it brings in Tino Martinez. Scott Rowland wins with both his bat and his glove, and he makes the Cardinals around him better players. Find out how he does it. Receive a centerfold poster of the Cardinals third baseman in the latest issue of Cardinals Game Day magazine. You can subscribe right now by calling 982-7336. 982-7336. Cardinals Game Day magazine rolling on the cover. Feature story, and operators are standing by as we deliver the broadcast to you.
Last year, Lawrence led the National League with 386 ground ball outs, had 29 induced double plays.
And here would certainly be a candidate with Tino Martinez.
Right, so he's always one good sinker away from getting out of a jam.
First pitch was a strike. Bo Hart standing at third. Edmonds the runner at first. On deck waiting, it's Scott Rowland. RBI opportunity for Martinez, and he falls behind in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. I'm sure the Padres remember Tino Martinez and a grand slam against San Diego back in the '98 World Series. The month of July, batting .344.
So he's about a month and a half of hot swinging for Tino.
In the hole here with no balls and 2 strikes. Just missed on the outside corner. Tino has his average up to .284. At one point it was down to .245, and then the Cardinals began interleague play, and that's when Martinez really started to pick things up. Shadow of Jim Edmonds standing at first base. The 1-2 to Tino. 2-2. Chicago lost today, so they are 2.5 games out. The Cardinals start 2 games out, and Houston a record of 48-43, leading the Central.
That was Pryor who lost today
against Mike Hampton, the Atlanta Braves. It's been a long time since Mark Pryor has won a ball game. Lost against Woody on Sunday. A ground ball here. Can they turn 2? And that's a double play, and that's what Al was telling you. He can get those ground balls, and there's a double play off the bat of Tino Martinez. We played 1. There's no score here from Busch. Top of the second at Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis. Glad you could join us here on Fox Sports Net. Al Hrabosky, Dan McLaughlin, our Bud Sports crew. Dave Hansen will lead things off, batting .262 for Bruce Bochy's club. Bochy, by the way, the all-time winningest manager in San Diego history. Hansen, Rondell White, and Gary Matthews Jr. Woody had a 1-2-3 first.
Now you read where Bochy is sort of in the hot seat, and that's hard to believe, as you're not sure what they're doing trying to get this team prepared for their new stadium.
That will open up next season in downtown San Diego.
Boy, that's going to be
awesome.
It'll be neat to see that, and Bruce Bochy deserves to be there when they open up that new stadium and start spending a little more money.
He's endured some tough times these last few years.
Well, think about this year. You know, you lose your closer, Trevor Hoffman, for the year. Then you lose your best hitter, separated shoulder for Phil Nevin, who I was talking with today and said that he thinks he can go out on a rehab in a couple weeks, so they'll get him back.
I think we should note that for Cardinal fans that didn't know it, Phil Nevin was terrific during the death of Darryl Kyle with Kyle's family out in San Diego and with Miss Kyle.
Yeah, I asked him about Flynn, and he said she is doing as well as expected. Matter of fact, she's with Phil Nevin's wife out in Napa right now, and I know there's been a group of wives that have been very supportive for Flynn Kyle.
Just missed on the outside corner, and a full count here on Dave Hansen, the cleanup man, with no home runs and 11 RBIs.
He's one of the premier pinch hitters in the game today.
Full count delivery from Woody. Lined into left, Paul Merrow is there. And again, if you're just joining us, Albert Pujols, nothing wrong with him, just a day off here tonight. This week, Fox Saturday Baseball returns when Andrew Jones leads the first place Braves against Sammy Sosa. And the Cubs trying to keep pace in the tight NL Central. All begins Saturday, noon. And it's only here on Fox. Here's Rondell White, the former Yankee, former Expo, former Cub, and now with San Diego. When he was a free agent a year and a half ago, the Cardinals had some interest, and Rondell White did not work out. And one of the things that he struggled with in Montreal was the fact they played on that terrible surface, and he's got bad knees.
Yeah, it's just a question of how much can he play, and just a very likable guy.
When he's in there, he produces for the most part.
He produces, he comes to play. You just kind of leave him alone and just say, go play, kid.
Yep.
And he'll play hard for you.
1 out, nobody on, a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. That's a good pitch there, backing White off the plate. Sometimes he will dive into the plate, and Woody will keep him honest with that fastball in.
You got to. And it's just to get him off your stuff away.
They go away, and he pops it up. Bo Hart, shallow right, calls for it and has it. 2 outs.
Much easier for you, JD. See, after the one inside, you get him to reach out there instead of diving across the plate where he can hit it with authority. And you reach, and then you're going to pop the ball up. Now, Bo Hart is always going to play hard, and he's going to try to get to every ball, but an infielder backpedaling is a much more difficult play and more likelihood to stumble than a guy coming in.
Here's Matthews Jr., and he takes a breaking ball for a strike.
Saw Gary Matthews Jr. With Baltimore earlier this year during interleague play. Picked up by San Diego.
Ground ball to Bo Hart. He's been busy. A little tricky hop there, and Gary Matthews Jr. is retired. 6 up and 6 down. Good start for Woody. Second inning, bottom half coming up. Al, who is one of the most controversial sports figures of all time?
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson is right. And those closest to him speak out like they never have before. It's beyond the glory. And it's a 2-hour special. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Bottom of the second, and there's no score. A couple chins on that young man.
I could say something, but I won't.
Here is Scott Rowland batting .287. He has been the hottest bat in this lineup for the Cardinals with 18 home runs and 62 RBIs. He's had back-to-back home run days against the Dodgers, also RBIs and doubles as well.
Now the RBIs are the most he's ever had at the break. He has 18 home runs. The most he had was 19 in '99.
The 1-1 pitch. A strike with J.D. Drew waiting on deck, and then Edgar Renteria. We are email ready and available. FoxSports.com. Cardinals booth. Hit to the shortstop Vasquez, and Rowland is retired for the first out as we start playing here in the bottom of the second.
Looks like he's got that sinker and slider going.
That's 4 ground balls by the Cardinals, and the first 5 hitters. FoxSports.com, keyword Cardinals booth. Have you figured out how to do the emails yet, Al?
Sure. Say, Danny boy.
Or you have to call up your daughters, get them in the booth, and help us out.
They're busy.
You have not mastered the email yet, as Drew has strike one on him. Now this is a positive. JD's in the lineup.
JD's in the lineup. Probably will not be in the lineup tomorrow. Lefty going, but he'll be back on Sunday, and let's hope the second half we can have him a little more consistent.
A changeup, and he's out in front. No balls and 2 strikes.
Mitchell Page has tried to get JD to hit a little bit more like Jim Edmonds, spread out a little bit further, because he's still favoring that front leg, the knee, and that's what leaves him vulnerable to the off-speed pitches. And it's almost like he just wants to get started too quickly, so he made the suggestion of widening his stance and not really stride or get out over that front leg. But he said, I can't do that.
Inevitably, we'll get some emails about Ray Lankford tonight as we talk about Woody Williams, who is starting against his former team, and Lankford is out of the game of baseball. That's a foul ball. Have you talked to Ray lately?
I have not. I actually did try to call him this afternoon after talking with Bruce Bochy, and I sitting here, we were talking about Ray and Woody and the trade, and so I put him on speed dial, but failed here at the ballpark.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Hit into center. That'll carry out to the center fielder, Marcotte. Hard hit, but right at him, and there's 2 outs. And what a trade this has wound up being for St. Louis. The Cardinals, since Woody's acquisition, a record of 32-14 in Woody's starts dating back to 2001. And it was actually after the trade deadline by about 3 days or so, as those two had to clear waivers, and then eventually the trade happened.
And you know, the Padres were fairly happy with Ray. They also, one of the things we were talking about, remember he sustained that very serious hamstring injury right here at Busch Stadium. Ray did.
There's Renteria, drilled down the line. That ball well hit. White looking up. It's gone. Home run for Edgar Renteria, and the Cardinal All-Star makes it 1-0 St. Louis. Home run number 9 and his 60th RBI.
Yeah, those 60 RBIs speaks volumes. He's hit well all season long. 4th in the National League with his .330 average that he just had it. 9th home run here, and to talk about Lawrence with all the sinkers that he throws, that is the 17th home run he's allowed. And he got that one belt high, and he belted it.
Here's Mike Matheny, 2 outs, and he looks at a strike at the knees. Cardinals behind the 60th RBI for the Cardinal shortstop, lead at 1-0. He's having a heck of a year. His lineup is number 1 right now in the National League. Came in hitting .288, which is first in the National League. 349 feet measured on that home run. A ball and a strike on Mike Matheny with Woody Williams on deck. Quietly, Mike Matheny does not put up the great numbers as far as home runs and RBIs, but he has been a workhorse. Look at that average, .313 the last 10 games. And if you would have told Mike you're going to hit .274 in the first half of the season, he would take that. Got off to a fantastic start, and truly one of the MVPs quietly, Al, on this team.
He's hit .321 at Busch Stadium this year. .415 batting mark against left-handed pitcher. That's second highest in the National League. And catches virtually every day, and a leader.
And this is hit out to right. Gary Matthews Jr. backing up and makes the play. And the Cardinals are done in their half of the second, but Edgar Renteria with his 9th home run, and it's 1-0 St. Louis. Hey fans, on Sunday, July 13th, the Cardinals play the Padres. This Sunday, it's Coca-Cola Shop and Save Edgar Renteria Bobblehead Day. The first 30,000 fans with a paid admission receive an Edgar Renteria bobblehead doll highlighting his 2002 Rawlings Gold Glove Award. Again, that's this Sunday, the Cards and the Padres, 421-2400, or log on to stlcardinals.com for ticket information.
45,500 tickets are sold for this Sunday, but there are 2,000 standing room tickets available. How about tomorrow night, the last Saturday night game of the season?
Is it really?
And it's Fuji Film Photo Day. 45,000 tickets are sold. But there are 1,000 upper terrace reserves available and 2,500 standing room tickets available for tomorrow night.
Last night game, huh?
Last Saturday night game.
It's hard to believe, but this is game number 92 for the Cardinals. That is a fair ball, and Tino Martinez tags out the shortstop, Ramon Vasquez, and it's 7 up and 7 down. Eduardo saying, way to go, Woody.
Not too bad, is it? Woody going out here just doing what we've come to expect, and it's not that easy, but he sure makes it look easy. Nobody really gets those good swings against him, kind of dribblers here and there.
And the fact is, he doesn't throw 95 miles per hour. He just paints. He keeps guys off balance. He's got great control. And Vasquez is out number 1 as we start play here in the 3rd. And Edgar Renteria home run has made it 1-0 Cardinals. Here is Gary Bennett, the catcher tonight for San Diego. Tomorrow we'll be on the WB, Sunday on WB 11, and the All-Star break, and off to the West Coast following the break. 4 with Los Angeles, 3 with these Padres, and then back home.
And I think we got a schedule where a lot of the Cardinal players are looking more forward to, not long stretches on the road.
That is hit foul, and watch out. 1-2 the count on Bennett with Brian Lawrence, the pitcher, on deck. Now, it is inevitable. Every time we open up the emails, we'll get a question talking about Fernando Vina. When he comes back, what happens to Bo Hart? And Bo Hart has said time and again that his future in the major leagues is not as an everyday player, although your mindset has to be, all right, I'm going to try to be that everyday player. But when Fernando Vina comes back, you would figure he'd be the second baseman. But the way that this guy has played, he's going to make it tough.
Well, I think, Bo has shown a lot of people around baseball that he can play.
Foul ground. Tino Martinez near the Cardinal dugout. He runs out of real estate.
But the perception was prior to him coming to the major leagues that if he did get to the big leagues, and that was still a question mark, he would have to have the versatility of playing all the infield positions. So that's what they started gearing for. So he played second, short, and third, and it's inevitable if he stays on this ball club at some point he'll get a little outfield time. Cairo was not that far from returning. Miguel told me he took ground balls today.
Into shallow right. JD, 2 outs.
And he told me that he probably would go on a rehab stint when we come back off the road trip.
That's good news. Those two have filled in quite well for Fernando Vina. And Bo Hart was taking ground balls at shortstop with Joe Patini, who works and sets the defenses, one of the Cardinal coaches.
Yeah, I mean, Bo's smart enough to realize, and Fernando Vina, one of the biggest backers for Bo right now.
Which is good to see.
Sure.
But you would expect that as strike 1 is in there to Lawrence, the right-handed starter for San Diego. Good pitch there, 0-2.
I think the good news for Cardinal fans is that as we're going to have to look for pitching this winter, that you have some alternatives. And you say we got a great offense and we got great defense, but you're going to have to sacrifice some salary in order to go out and get the pitching.
And this one is hit to center. Edmonds, 9 up and 9 down. Good start. He's perfect through 3. He'll lead things off when we come back. The Cardinals lead it 1-0. This portion of Cardinal baseball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Subway. Try one of Subway's chicken international subs on new gourmet bread. Subway, eat fresh. Glad you could join us on this Friday night. And welcome back to Busch. Chicago has lost today. They're 2.5 games out. The Cardinals start play 2 games back of the Houston Astros. And Houston beat up on Cincinnati as they're trying to get through the break with a 4-man rotation. That has not worked very well for Bob Boone's club.
Let's see why they was it 6 runs and then 9 runs in the first inning.
Right.
We thought we had problems just giving up 5.
Cardinals behind an Edgar Renteria home run lead at 1-0. This day in baseball history is brought to you by Schnucks, as Woody Williams will step in, the leadoff man. 1976, July 11th at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. 34 couples are married at home plate. A wrestling match also takes place for the Headlocks and Wedlocks promotion. Our Schnucks this day in baseball history. Do you remember that?
No.
You spent considerable time in Atlanta, and that has to be a monumental occasion when any Braves fan thinks of the past.
First thing that come to my mind, you know, if I was a Braves fan. Back then, boy, you could walk in for a 7:35 start. You could walk in at 7:30 and sit right behind the dugout.
And it's getting back to that way with the way the Braves have played over the last 11 years now. They're going to win another division title, it looks like. They lead it by 8.5 games over Philadelphia as Williams is tied up. Down the line, a fair ball, long throw up the line, and Woody is safe at first. The Cardinals' 3rd hit tonight.
Well, we talk about the Cardinals' offense all the time. What we don't talk about is their pitchers and their hitting ability. They are really the best by far, batting average wise. Cardinals pitchers have a 227 average before this base hit, so they're 42 for 182. That's 30 points higher than the Rockies, 89 points higher than the National League average.
Here's Bo Hart. Bunts it down the third base line. A good bunt, may beat it out. Ow! At first base is Bo Hart. Almost beat it out for his 2nd hit. And he moves up the runner, Woody Williams, from 1st to 2nd. Perfect bunt there by Bo Hart.
Sean Burroughs does a nice job, but you're going to watch. He comes in and fields this ball barehanded, but then he stops his throw. The reason he stopped is look where the first baseman is. First baseman was standing right there, and he had to wait for the second baseman to get there. And a very close play, bang, bang. It goes to the Padres, and I hope Mitchell Page didn't hurt himself jumping out of the dugout trying to get a hit for his young Bo Hart.
Well, I thought he was safe. The first replay I did. Here's Orlando Palmeiro. Grounded back to the pitcher his first time up. And here with 1 out. There's another look. Is he out or safe? I'd say he's safe. Just one man's opinion, Al. Nonetheless, that is out number 1.
Unfortunately, yours doesn't count.
It doesn't mean a darn thing. Orlando is hitting .279. We talked about the numbers for Palmeiro, and you're right, Al. Where would this team be without Palmeiro? Because of J.D. Drew's injury, Palmeiro a chance to play an awful lot at the start of the year and filling in when J.D. can't play now.
And Perez say the same.
Sure. I mean, those two have been terrific off the bench, and Palmeiro arguably your best pinch hitter.
Yeah, Perez batting .348 against left-handed pitching, so a nice substitute. Palmeiro .292 against right-handers.
And Orlando was fighting to make the club at the end of spring training. Got off to a slow start with the Cardinals.
8 for 25 as a pinch hitter this year.
Right down the gut. 1-2. As a home run, that was against the Brewers, and 19 RBIs in limited play, and batting .279.
And you can't say enough about these guys that understand their roles. They know that they're not everyday players, so they don't whine. They just prepare for their role that they do have, and it's an important one.
He taps it foul. A lot of times you will see Palmeiro do exactly that. Spoil the 2-strike pitch, and it looks ugly sometimes. With just a check swing, and he'll hit it towards that third base dugout, or just pull that to stay alive, and he stays alive here with a ball and 2 strikes.
And what's good about him is the way he sprays the ball around, particularly the opposite field.
On 1 and 2, Paul Merrill swings and slaps it down that third base line, but foul.
Saw that ball out there and took a shot at the opposite field. They play him defensively, I think, properly. You see the left fielder close to the left field line, maybe a little bit deep. See a lot of other clubs playing more shallow.
And room into left center field. He goes that direction. Rondell White near the line, and he pulls this one foul. Good little battle going on here with Lawrence and Paul Merrill. With 1 out, the runner at second is Woody Williams, and a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cardinals with 3 hits on the night, included in that a solo home run by Edgar Renteria. The 1-2 pitch. Paul Merrill lifts it out to Rondell White to his left, and he makes the play, and back to second, Woody Williams. 2 outs. That'll bring in Edmonds, who walked his first time up. Edmonds was erased on a double play. 4-6-3 back in the first after he walked. That was off the bat of Tina Martinez, who is waiting on deck.
8-game hitting streak for Jimmy.
One of those home runs, the most he has ever had before the break. 27 home runs. The most he has ever had in a season, 42, and that was with the Cardinals.
And he had 25 at the break when he hit 42.
And he pulls it foul to Dave McKay, the Cardinal first base coach.
When you think about it, Jim Edmonds, second on the ball club with his 66 RBIs. And then you see where Renteria picked up his 60th today. Tells you what kind of RBI season Edgar's having.
Yep. Not to mention Pujols, 80 plus. A strike on the outside corner as Gary Bennett moved to the outside portion of the plate, and Lawrence hit his spot. The Padres are 11th in fielding percentage and 3rd from the bottom in pitching. With 2 outs and runners in scoring position, Edmonds with 5 home runs and 21 RBIs. And a swing and a miss, and Edmonds strikes out. The Cardinals strand their second man tonight. 1-0 St. Louis after 3. Al, this is a Trick Affleck trivia question, according to the guys in the truck and the gals. Who was the first former Padre to be inducted into the Hall of Fame? Dave Winfield, of course, was inducted into baseball's Hall of Fame most recently from San Diego.
Well, Raleigh Fingers played there. Willie McCovey, a lot of people don't know, played for the Padres.
Line drive to Bo Hart. That is now 10 straight set down by Woody Williams.
But those aren't the answers. I wonder, could it be a native of San Diego?
Huh. Ted Williams, a native of San Diego.
I don't know. How tricky are we getting?
Here's Mark Loretta.
Did he play for the Padres when they were a AAA team or something?
I have no idea.
I don't either. Those guys and gals are pretty tricky in the truck.
That's Jeannie Lodowick. That is hit into center. Edmonds on the move. He's got it. 2 down. Woody's off to a very fine start. 11 straight set down.
Well, use your defense. Struck out Kotze to open the ball game, and since that time he's just been getting guys to hit the ball at someone. It sure was nice watching Edmonds just kind of gracefully go back and track that ball down.
I thought that initially was going to get over his head the way that it sounded off the bat, but he gets such a great read out there in center. Had a beat on it right off the bat. There's Sean Burrows. Burrows popped out to the shortstop Renteria back in the first.
Got off to a horrendous start, and you always worry about a young player, will he bury himself? But he's hit .350 in his last 48 games. He was hitting .190 on May the 1st. And now he's over 300.
The 2-0 pitch from Woody is popped up, shallow center, backing up. Renteria calls for it, has it. How about Woody Williams? He's perfect through 4. Bottom of the 4th coming up. Tino, Roland, and J.D. Drew. Our tricky Affleck trivia question tonight. Who was the first former Padre to be inducted into the Hall of Fame? Ted Williams, 1936, played with the San Diego Padres minor league. I remember Ted Williams when we were in San Diego last year. He had just passed away in the wonderful ceremony with Jerry Coleman and Dick Enberg out there before one of the ball games. And that's how I remembered, because of what took place last year.
When the All-Star game was in San Diego, well, I guess in the 80s, we got a chance to meet Ted Williams.
That must have been a thrill.
It really was, and it's a story that's worth repeating. But I was standing next to Bob Gibson, and because it's Ted's hometown, they were honoring before the Old Timers game. And Bob told me, he said he faced Ted Williams in a spring training game. So it had to be at the beginning of Bob's career and the end of Ted Williams' career. Bob told me, he said he threw a first pitch fastball. Ted Williams took it for strike 1. He threw him another fastball. He didn't get around on it. Strike 2. He said, I thought I threw a pretty good curveball.
And Tino Martinez a base hit. He's 1 for 2 on the night.
Thought he threw a pretty good curveball to him, but he said he hit it right back up through the box. Almost took my ear off, so I guess it wasn't that good. Next day I was going to the Fan Fest and traveling in a car with Ted Williams. I said, Ted, Bob Gibson told me where he remembered about facing you in a spring training game. What do you remember? He goes, oh, I remember it very well. This was,
this is
30 years, yeah, prior in a spring training game. Bob could remember a Hall of Famer, but why would he remember young Bob Gibson?
That's incredible.
He said the first time I faced a pitcher, I would always take the first pitch. He threw a fastball, and I said, that's a good one. Next pitch, I didn't get around on a fastball. He had me 0-2. I said, oh man, well, he's got me now. Well, I'll just look for something I could take up the middle. Cocked his wrist, curveball, almost took his ear off. So verbatim, both of them remembered the spring training at bat.
If it was during the All-Star game, is that what you said?
Yeah.
It was back in 1978.
No, it was after that.
After that one?
Because I was retired.
Okay. That was one of the All-Star games that the Padres have had, as Roland hits it foul. And a trade has been made tonight in Major League Baseball. The Marlins are busy. Dontrell Willis has been added to the All-Star game, to the National League roster. Their young 21-year-old left-hander, and Uget Urbina has been sent to the Marlins for 3 minor leaguers. And Urbina had been talked about in trade talks with St. Louis and Texas, but he's on his way to Florida, as Roland now has the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the Marlins have something in upwards, Al, if you talk about Castillo and the raises that certain players are going to get, Mike Lowell being one of them, the shortstop Gonzalez. It's like an additional $35 million in payroll. Jeffrey Loria, as Roland swings and misses, second strikeout for Lawrence. The owner has talked about going for it this year, and they are only, I think, 4 or 5 games out in the wild card starting tonight.
Well, and who's to say that you still couldn't make another deal or 2 or 3 if you don't play well in the next couple weeks?
Sure.
So, if you continue to play well, it makes sense. If you don't, well, you're in the driver's seat.
When we were there, I was talking with Jeff Torborg, and he said Braden Looper at that time was probably best suited as a setup man, not necessarily the closer. Well, now they've got that situation and more defined roles in their bullpen. Since then, Jeff Torborg has been fired. And trader Jack McKeon has taken over that club and done a very good job. Here's J.D. Drew with 1 out, a count of no balls and a strike. 1-0 Cardinals on 4 hits. And a ground ball, a chance at a double play. Could be the second on the night, and it is. 4-6-3 double play in the second with that combination here tonight. The other was back in the first off the bat of Tino Martinez. This one off the bat of J.D. Drew. In the World Series, home field advantage means everything. Now, for the first time ever, baseball's best square off to determine which league gets home field advantage come October. It's Major League Baseball's 74th All-Star Game as the brightest stars gather, but this time it's more than just bragging rights. This time it counts. The 2003 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Tuesday, only on Fox. Steve Klein hat. That one is worn a little bit.
Be proud of that one.
Yeah, that's a keeper.
Might be one of Steve's real ones.
Yep. Very nicely done. We are in the 5th inning, and Woody Williams is not allowed to hit thus far. Dave Hansen, Rondell White, Gary Matthews Jr. will be the hitters. 1 ball and 1 strike. Woody's been perfect. He has 1 strikeout tonight. The first man that he saw, Mark Kotsay. Will Woody Williams be the starter for the National League?
I've seen Kerry Wood as a potential. Also Russ Ortiz, who is already a 12-game winner.
And I believe the only 12-game winner in the National League.
Yeah, Woody would trying to become the second one here tonight.
And the 1-2 pitch. Lined into left field. Palmeiro, late break, and he makes the play. A ball hit at him, started in, maybe 1 false step, then had to go back. The ball was slicing a bit, and Palmeiro puts it in his back pocket and makes the play.
Goes back on the ball well, reaches up to last second. It helps that he is left-handed, as that ball is going to slice away from him, but right into his glove. And Woody will appreciate that defense behind him.
I'll go back to the Bud Smith no-hitter. In that series, it was Bud Smith, Woody Williams, and Matt Morris all made starts in that series. Matt Morris had a complete game. Woody Williams took a no-hitter into the 7th, and Bud Smith had a no-hitter. I mean, that was pitching in that series a few years ago, and that was against his former mates. He's got 1 out and no hits allowed here in the 5th. Back on June 5th against Toronto, Woody Williams flirting with a no-hitter. 1 ball, 1 strike. And White pops it foul and out of play.
Remember, Woody's had 2 wins taken away from him by the bullpen with walk-off home runs.
Right.
When he was out of the game, but a little more relaxed as Dave Duncan today rather than last night.
The 1-2 hit into right center. Edmonds on his horse, pretty well hit at the track, at the wall, and he's got it for the second out.
Well, I think Woody must have done a little road work and stepped off how far it is from home plate to the wall.
A couple times he's had that.
Allowed his defense to just kind of glide back, and she said Edmonds with those great jumps, he doesn't panic and doesn't have to sprint to the ball and just glide underneath it.
And it brings in the switch hitter, Gary Matthews Jr. Grounded out to second. A couple of times we've seen Woody get outs but then shake his head afterwards. A little upset with his own location, but he's gotten away with those pitches.
Well, he's so good at execution and realizes that was maybe an error in location. Didn't want it to be that much over the middle of the plate.
Scott rolling and on the grass at third base. And a strike at the knees. This is after the first pitch to Matthews. Unhappy there. And I can only remember twice now that he has fallen behind in a count. He has been ahead from pitch number 1 for the better part of this game. And Matthews calling time, maybe breaking the rhythm of Woody Williams, and a fastball chopped towards the middle. Renteria is there. Woody perfect through 5. Renteria, Matheny, and Woody Williams coming up. It's 1-0 St. Louis. Well, he was reluctant to go into pro football, but Curtis Martin did it, and his work ethic paid off. This week, find out about the Curtis Martin you never knew. It's Beyond the Glory. Takes you inside the hidden world of sports' biggest stars. Beyond the Glory, Sunday at 9, and it's only here on Fox Sports Net. We move to the bottom of the 5th. A 0 put up by Woody Williams so far across the board.
Let's give him a little more support, though.
Only 4 hits allowed by Brian Lawrence, and one of those a solo home run to this man, Edgar Renteria. A couple of home runs this week. He had one off of Kirk Rader. And also this week against this man, Brian Lawrence. We're in the 5th, and it's 1-0 Cardinals.
Another 2-out RBI as he picks up this 60th RBI on his 9th home run of the year. That is now 28 2-out RBIs.
Such a dangerous player. Can hit a home run next at bat. He can try to bunt his way on.
Batting .332.
Win a game with his glove. Many believe he's the smartest player out there on the field. Dave Duncan talking it over with his starter tonight, Woody Williams. A ball and 2 strikes on Renteria. Atlanta has beaten Chicago today 9-5, and that's hit number 5 for the Cardinals as Renteria is 2 for 2. Mark Pariah, by the way, in that ball game collided with Marcus Giles in the 2nd inning. He only pitched 4 2/3, allowing 6 runs on 6 hits. Giles was hurt in the game. Pariah was okay. Sammy Sosa 2 solo home runs in the 5th and 7th off of Mike Hampton.
Here's a base hit, the 5th of the night for the Cardinals, 2nd for Renteria. He leads the National League in multi-hit games.
Marcus Giles left that ball game with a slight concussion, and apparently he's going to miss the rest of the weekend in that series. He's a tough guy, though. We may see him back. Here's Mike Matheny batting .273. Rips it foul right over that Catch-22 club sign as he donates money for tickets and youth groups here in St. Louis.
And that's going yourself, Danny. See Dan's clan out there.
It's been a lot of fun. No balls and a strike on Matheny with a runner at first, Renteria. Edgar leads the club in stolen bases. He's among the league leaders. Remember a couple of years ago we talked about his sore knee, and we said, oh, he won't get back to the way that he was possibly, but here he is stealing base after base. He's on pace for about 45.
23 out of 26 in stolen base department.
Matheny deadens the bunt to the pitcher Lawrence. And you've got a pitcher on deck, and this what makes this play interesting is that 9 times out of 10, Al, you don't sacrifice with the pitcher on deck, but with a guy like Woody Williams, he's a lethal bat in this lineup.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where Matheny checks his ego at the door too, so
right.
You can ask him to do things for the team that somebody might say, well, I'm too good to do that. Mike Matheny's trying to win ball games, and if it takes Woody Williams getting the base hit and driving in extra insurance run, he's the first one to be supportive of it.
Cardinals as a team came in hitting .283 with runners in scoring position. Woody is 1 for 1 on the night and looks at a ball. You know, Lawrence and the Padres have a scouting report on Woody that shows he can hit the baseball, so be careful.
.315 career average here at Busch Stadium.
Edgar, the runner at second. Good speed out there. The 1-0 pitch.
By the way, Woody Williams' pitching record here at Busch Stadium is 16-4 and a 2.50 ERA.
I mean, the logical question for any fan of the Padres watching this, they say, what happened to Woody Williams? How has this happened? He's now one of the dominant pitchers in the game of baseball. Not dominant stuff, but the guy puts up W's.
Well, Bruce Bochy told me that his pitching coach, Greg Booker, even called Woody and said, did Dave Duncan do something? You know, what happened? He said, well, basically the same stuff. But I think what Dave has given him a formula how to retire hitters, and Woody's had the ability to execute that game plan.
Up and in to Woody Williams. And it's 3-1.
Woody's still checking himself. This ball running, trying to drop down and just didn't get the release point, and that ball just runs up and in. Woody, remember, he was a collegiate shortstop, and he knew how to get out of the way. A lot of pitchers wouldn't have gotten out of the way of that one.
And the 3-1. Woody pulls it foul. So you do that to Pujols or you do that to Edmonds, they hit home runs on the next pitch. This one is just pulled foul, but we'll have to see what happens in this at bat.
The bat, the AB is still developing.
That's right. Albert, a night off.
Needs it.
Yes, he does.
Physically, mentally.
And Woody stays alive. There's been so much attention on Albert Pujols. I asked Tony La Russa about this the other day on our pregame show, Al, but you look at Sports Illustrated, the Sporting News, Sports Weeklies on the covers, people talking about it. And in many ways, you give that some credit as to why he was the leading vote getter in the National League. That's one of the reasons. And the fact that we talk about him nonstop, which we should. But that national attention came through, but you wonder, can he handle it? And the answer unequivocally from anybody with the Cardinals is yes. He throws Woody Williams, and that's a strikeout number 3 on the night. It'll take a 2-out hit from Bohart.
Good breaking ball there, but I agree with everything you say, and it's not surprising that after hoping that he'd be elected to the All-Star, that you have a little mental letdown. You know, Mike Lowell's gone into a tailspin. Some of these guys that were elected for the first time, it was such a goal for them. They make it, and they're so happy about it that they kind of stop the push. And it's just subconscious. It's not something they're doing intentionally.
Here's Bohart with 2 outs. Renteria at second base. Our good buddy Dale Ethington is in the hospital, and Al, you and I had a chance to meet Dale and his family. They came through the booth one night. Actually, it's an afternoon game on a Sunday about a month ago, and he's now in the hospital and watching Cardinal baseball. Dale will pull in for you, and can't wait to see you back here at the ballpark. As Hart pulls it to the third baseman, Sean Burrows, and Bo is retired. He's 1 for 3 on the night. Cardinals strand another man. They've left 4 here tonight. We head to the 6th. 1-0 St. Louis. It's 1-0 Cardinals. You see the 0. Woody Williams perfect through 5 so far, and he's gotten some good defense behind him, Al.
Yes, he has. He's done it himself, striking out the first man of the game. Palmeiro makes a nice one. Edmonds a couple of them. Even here, Woody starts to think he has to jump up and get that ball, but nope. Renteria was right there. So a little bit of fun so far.
Scott Rowland playing in at third base for Vasquez, the shortstop. 7, 8, and 9 in the order for San Diego. No hits allowed so far, and we start play here in the 6th inning. One ball and 1 strike. I remember during the Bud Smith no-hitter. At that time, Tony Gwynn was hurt and not playing every day, but available to pinch hit. And I mean, he hit a rocket in the 8th inning as Bud got a double play.
Really? And today, Ryan Klesko is not in the lineup. He's had the stomach flu for about the last 3 days. He came walking into Bochy's office when I was there, and he wondered what alley he had crawled out of. He said, man, you look terrible. He said, I feel like I've been run over a truck. He said, I couldn't imagine feeling it much worse than how he had the last few days. And Bochy said he'd probably get him back in the lineup tomorrow.
Now, you've been around this. When do guys in that bullpen actually start to take notice and say, never say the words, but start to take notice of what's going on here with Woody Williams?
Well, let me ask you this. You think Woody doesn't know what's going on?
Everybody in the ballpark should, including Woody.
Well, no, Woody's the guy that knows it more than anybody else. So the fallacy of, oh, don't talk about it. And it's almost a, you know, it's more unnerving when you're used to talking to your teammates and they stop.
Won't sit by you.
They won't sit by you. They avoid you.
Little ground ball and a foul ball. Woody with 1 strikeout tonight, no walks and no hits allowed as we play here in the 6th inning. Guys down in the bullpen, though, they're away from Woody, so they can chit chat a little bit about it.
Now those guys down there may not know about it.
That's what I mean.
No, they know too.
The 3-2 pulled the bow hard, and that's the first out here in the 6th. This crowd is into it, you know that. Most knowledgeable baseball fans. What's on Tap brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down. Make it a Bud Light. Tomorrow at 7. Our final weekend night game, 7 o'clock on the WB. We hope you join us, the Padres and the Cardinals. And our What's on Tap brought to you by Bud Light. Here's the catcher, Bennett. Takes his time stepping in. Trying to do anything to break this rhythm by Woody Williams. I can remember only one so far stepping out against him, and that was Gary Matthews Jr. And then time was called when he was just about in his windup.
And you don't know if he did it to disrupt him or it's just something that he needed for himself.
Right.
But it's obvious Woody tries to get into a groove, but he's so focused he's not going to let these guys bother him.
The 0-1 pitch lined into the seats. Watch out. 0-2 the count with the pitcher on deck. Steve Harrell writes in and wants to know about the all-star coaches. Tony La Russa is one. As you see what Woody Williams has done, outstanding. Only 18 balls and 64 pitches. But Woody headed to the all-star game. Tony La Russa will be a coach. Lloyd McClendon, who received an extension by Pittsburgh this afternoon, is also a coach, and Dusty Baker is the manager. The 0-2 pitch. This crowd ooh and ah with every pitch that's around the zone.
But you see that everything is off the plate, changing speeds, but he just stays out of the middle.
A little squiver, foul ball. 1-2 the count. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Ooh. Does not get the call, and it's even now, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Went away with a couple pitches, so back inside.
Oh, doesn't get the call there.
And when you repeat 2 in a row in the same location, you're usually going to get one of them.
Maybe a little in.
Ever so slightly, but I mean, you start now and you start realizing what's going on here.
And a walk. Had him at 0-2, and now a walk to Gary Bennett.
And these boos are for the umpire.
So the first walk allowed by Woody Williams, still is not allowed a hit. In that ball game against Toronto, the Cardinals eventually won it 13-5, 8 innings, 1 hit. That was a game in which Dustin Hermanson came in and did not pitch all that well.
And he had not pitched in nearly 2 weeks, but his body language, you wondered if he felt like he should be out there or had the "why me" sign on it.
And a ball to the pitcher Lawrence, who showed bunt, pulled back and took a ball. Roland charging in from third base. And of course, Dustin Hermanson no longer with the club, and to my knowledge, he hasn't been picked up by anybody.
I don't think so.
This pitcher fly to center his first time up. He's 0 for 1.
Got Roland creeping in.
And the bunt is down. Woody will tag out the pitcher himself. That's the second out. And the tying run moves up to second base. So the sacrifice good. And with 2 outs, Mark Kotsay will be the hitter. He is lined out to Bohart, and he's also struck out swinging to start the ball game.
It's the only strikeout of the evening for Woody Williams. But you can tell the way Woody is attacking hitters. He's trying to get rid of them and fewer pitches than it normally takes for a strikeout.
A rare walk issued by Woody Williams to the number 8 man in the order. We're back to the top of the order, and Kotsay. And the first pitch, a ball low and away. 1.85 walks per 9 innings. That's it. That ratio, the 4th best mark in the National League.
Yeah, how much better would it be without that one game where he walked 6?
That was against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. And against Mike Mussina. I talked to Woody about that game afterwards. Now we were in Milwaukee, of course, and he said, well, I looked at the tape and some of those pitches were being called for Moose, and I thought some of mine were right there with them, but didn't get the call.
Yeah, that's a common complaint that pitchers have, particularly games started in Yankee Stadium, that it's a strike zone for the home team and a different one for the visitors.
It's been like that for a long time. Here's a 1-1 pitch. 2-1, but you're never going to hear Woody complain about it.
No, and you know what? Woody would tell you that, I can't pitch by throwing the ball on down the middle or put it on a tee. I've got to hit my spots, and if I don't get those calls, I'm not going to have a good game.
And Kotsay calls time and steps out. 2 balls and a strike. Padres still looking for their first hit, and it's 3-1.
I thought it was Matheny rather than the hitter who called timeout, and now you see a little bit of a discussion as to what they want to throw, and not just because there's a no-hitter involved. It's a 1-0 ball game, and get together on the same page. Mike's the one calling timeout. Sometimes you'll rethink something that you put down there, and
here's a 3-1 pitch. Kotsay hit it deep right field. Drew is back, and this game is now in the favor of San Diego. The first hit of the game for the Padres is a 2-run home run. And it's 2-1 Padres on top. Kotsay the home run, his 4th. That breaks up the no-hitter. RBIs 20 and 21. 2-1 San Diego.
No-hitter, shutout, and the lead, all with one swing of the bat. One of the few times he's fallen behind in the count, and there's a ball up and in the middle of the plate, and Woody, even when he's got a no-hitter going, cannot survive that location.
Here's Mark Loretta. 2-1 San Diego. Reaction here by Woody Williams. The first hit allowed.
9th home run he's allowed. He's going, how can I get it back?
Yep. Crowd now is really quiet. Thoughts and prayers with the family of Gene Puckett, longtime Cardinal fan, passed away this morning. She'll be missed down here at the ballpark. A foul ball. 1-2. Cardinals have had a couple of chances with runners in scoring position besides that Renteria home run to add to that 1-0 lead. Couldn't do it. Now it's 2-1 San Diego. And a swing and a miss. A foul tip caught by Matheny. And strikeout number 2. A home run by Kotze breaks up the no-hitter and gives the Padres the lead.
Welcome back to Busch Stadium. Woody Williams had 5 1/3 perfect innings. And now the 8th place hitter, catcher, comes up there. He gets ahead in the count on him. Pitches are up in the zone. He's fouling them off. That one off the plate outside. And another off-speed pitch. Then he throws 2 pitches on the inside part of the plate. You thought he was going to get one. Then a breaking ball down and away. He walks him. The pitcher sacrificed him to second. And then Mark Kotze gets the first hit for the Padres, a 2-run shot, and the Cardinals will find themselves trailing 2-1.
Here's Palmeiro to start the bottom of the 6th. 2-1 San Diego, right at the first baseman, Dave Hansen. 1 pitch and 1 out. That was a bullet.
Got a battle. I mean, the Cardinals have 5 hits, but hit into 2 double plays as you got a ground ball monster on the mound. Every time he get a base runner, he can erase them with the double play ball.
Here's Edmonds with those 27 home runs, still batting above the 300 mark at 301 and 66 RBIs. Edmonds has walked and struck out. And with 1 out, nobody on, the first pitch to him. Old foul. Edmonds is now trailing Bonds and Carlos Delgado.
It's Jim Edmonds. Every time he swings, he'll grab the right shoulder.
I got a feeling he's going to be all right. Diggs back in there with no balls and 1 strike. And Tino Martinez, the on-deck man. 1-1. Lawrence, as Al told you, has induced a couple of double plays to get out of innings. He's pitched very well and has been, for the most part, overshadowed by what Woody Williams was doing. 2-1.
Scattered his 5 hits, never more than 1 in an inning. Cardinals scored on the home run by Renteria. He's 2 for 2.
Like we said before, the Cardinals are seeing the Padres at possibly the worst time. San Diego playing very good baseball. They've won 6 of their last 7 away from Qualcomm. And they've got this right-hander on the mound who in his career has held the Cardinals for the most part in check. He's 1-1 with a 2.45 ERA. And it's ball 4 to Edmonds. 1 out walk, and the second walk handed out to the Cardinals. If you'd like to win Cardinals tickets and participate in the Southwest Airlines Family of the Game promotion during a Cardinals home game, here's your chance. Send your name, address, and phone number to Southwest Airlines Family of the Game, P.O. Box 771192, St. Louis, Missouri 63177. And good luck from Southwest Airlines. Full moon, but nope, no hitter. Oh, that's a full moon. Tim Garcia, who's up in our booth, is saying that's not a full moon. That's a full moon. Long way to go, Rondell White. Well, he made that thing an adventure. That's a can of corn, and he makes a diving play.
Well, he did not go to get a good jump under the full moon, and I agree with Tim Garcia. It is not a full moon.
Oh, but come on, Al.
But this play is as if it was a full moon. As Rondell White broke back, then he has to charge and then eventually dive for it. Makes a terrific play and holds on to the ball with jarring contact with the ground. Giving chase here. No, Danny, that's not quite a full moon.
Oh, that's a full moon. I should figure, though. You're a little subdued tonight. Maybe it's not a full moon.
You don't hear me howling yet.
Yet. You're supposed to agree with me, Al. Don't let Tim gang up on us like that.
It's just an observation.
I'm telling you, man. Two and 0 to Scott Rowland. Grounded out to short, struck out swinging, 0 for 2 on the night.
There's a full moon.
Yeah, that's a full moon.
And he's full. They broke the mold right there. And we mean that in the most affectionate way.
Yes, we do. 2 and 1 on Rowland.
Where would we be without our traveling part? Our buddy, man.
Astrologist Dan McLaughlin, Al Rabowski. We're going to be lost next week on the West Coast. Mike Shannon's going to be taking some vacation days.
Yeah, but we can corrupt Ricky Horton.
I mean, Shannon is our travel guy. He's America's guest. You and I have improved our handicap by 5 to 7 strokes thanks to Mike Shannon setting up all those golf dates.
And we'll see him in Napa.
You and I have the privilege of playing in Tony La Russa's golf tournament, Napa Valley, next Thursday.
And Mike will fly out there to be with us.
Full count with J.D. Drew on deck. Try to get to some of those emails throughout the evening at foxsports.com, the keyword Cardinals booth.
Gotta send Jim Edmonds here.
Full count and 2 outs. He's off with the pitch. Rolling, little tapper left side. Burrows on the run, makes the play, and the Cardinals are done. And we are through 6. San Diego with 1 hit, and they've made it count. A 2-run home run. They lead it 2-1. The sun is still out along with that full moon at Busch Stadium as we welcome you back. Trying to bunt his way on, and it's pushed foul. Sean Burrows followed by Dave Hansen, then Rondell White.
Good friends Bob and Marie Taylor from Little Rock, Arkansas, here tonight. You know the couple I was just talking to. 31 years ago, at one time I was down in Little Rock, and Lisa was just months old, and I got called to the big leagues, back up to the big leagues, and my wife had to have some surgery and everything like this, and I was trapped. You know, what do you do with a 5-month-old daughter?
And they helped you.
And they helped me. Lisa stayed with them for a few days and everything until my wife was able to travel.
I think it's great. Steve Klein, when he was in the minor leagues with Cleveland, had a couple of families that he lived with for full seasons. And what he does is he travels once a summer, that family on a road trip with him. Puts them up in hotel rooms, and his way of saying thank you.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, Taylors have been lifelong friends because of that. And I think that's not an uncommon situation. What happens in the minor leagues, players get into jams and people help them out, and then you can enjoy their career when they get to the big leagues.
Sure. Jammed a bit, and this one will be handled by Scott Rowland. 1 out to start the 7th. Becky Maltman writes in from Overland. The full moon is officially due on Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
But you should have a great view of Mars towards the end of the game. As it rises in the east, Mars will be the closest it has been in 50,000 years.
Thank you. Thank you. We've seen it before.
That is a full moon.
It's not.
You can't convince me it's not a full moon. It's tapped to short. That's 2 outs. 2-1 ball game, and Rondell White will step in with 2 outs, nobody on here in the 7th. Woody Williams, 1 hit allowed, and that was a home run. And a fastball in there for a strike. Tom writes in from Central Illinois. Dustin Hermanson is signed with the Fresno Grizzlies, the Giants AAA team.
Thank you very much.
Yep, we appreciate that.
Yeah, the Cardinals had wanted him to go down to their AAA affiliate, Memphis, and maybe even go into the rotation.
Did not want to do that. Broken bat lifted into shallow left, and Palmeiro has got it. 1-2-3, top of the 7th for Woody Williams. J.D. Drew, Renteria, and Mike Matheny coming up for St. Louis. The Cards trail by a run. With a full moon in the background, this portion of Cardinal baseball on Fox Sports Net brought to you by Southwest Airlines, bringing people together with lower fares, and by Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. Score in this ball game, 2-1 in favor of San Diego. Bottom of the 7th here at Busch Stadium. J.D. Drew will lead it off for the Cardinals. Redbirds with 5 hits, San Diego 1 hit, and that 1 hit 390 feet down that right field line, and a 2-run home run by Kotsay. Congratulations to Marilyn Saltzman, today's merchandise prize winner, the Hyundai Long Drive Inning Sweepstakes. If the Cardinals hit a home run in the 7th, Marilyn will qualify for the grand prize drawing of a Hyundai Elantra GT at the end of the season. To register, visit a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer to complete an entry form. JT could tie this thing up with one swing of the bat.
Sure could, and I got a pretty good feeling too.
Last home run was at Milwaukee off of Wayne Franklin. So it's been a while.
Rob and Nancy Abira, our Frontenac, are here celebrating their 22nd wedding anniversary. Congratulations to them, and hopefully JD will punctuate that happy moment for you.
JD with 9 home runs on the season. So you and I are thinking along those same lines. It's been a while.
Been a while, and you know, the pitcher starts making a mistake, he's behind in the count.
We'll take that as well. Leadoff walk to J.D. Drew. The best damn sports show, period. Their All-Star Summer is back tonight. They'll welcome NASCAR driver Kevin Harvick, also NFL insider Jay Glazer, and Sausage Girl Mandy Block tells us about the latest incident in Milwaukee with the Pirates' Randall Simon. It's the best damn sports show, period. All-Star Summer continues tonight at 10:30, and it's only on Fox Sports Net.
Boy, Mandy's been making the rounds.
Good for Mandy, though.
Seen our Fox Sports News, our Fox News, as well as all the shows and everything. And luckily, she's not hurt.
She's an intern, too, for the Brewers. And Simon, I believe, has been suspended for 3 games.
He fined $432, arrested, embarrassed. He's got a mug shot now.
I mean, he took a pretty good whack at it.
Yeah, I mean, you know it was not done intentionally, but you got to think of your consequences.
Yeah.
And now every mascot is out to gun and get him. Redbird, boy, he was livid. I had to calm him down yesterday.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, he showed me a picture of Randall Simon, had a circle through it, slashed right across his chest.
Edgar takes the ball to even up the count. 1 ball and 1 strike.
And you want to know something that just ironically, they had already decided to have a promotion. Remember, they got the pierogies or some kind of race in Pittsburgh.
You're right.
Well, they had already had a promotion to where they're going to send all those sausages to Pittsburgh later on for a series and have a race, the pierogies against the sausages.
I can't wait. You're like me, chomping at the bit, so to speak.
Man. Albert Pujols got him a home run earlier. Our nightly visit with Renteria. Who's Bat? We can get that sponsored.
We should. That's pulled foul. And here is the race. This is the incident. Randall Simon, whop, and down in a heap. My money was on Bratwurst anyway. 1-2 the count on Renteria. Mike Matheny waiting on deck. 2-2, a 2-1 ball game in favor of San Diego.
Of course, the Pirates just happened to be wearing their mustard yellow uniforms that night.
Very nice. You didn't pick up. I was chomping at the bit.
Yeah, I got it, but I wasn't hungry.
The 2-2 pitch with the runner going is pulled and tapped foul.
See a bat back there, and who do you think would be having a bat with a possible pinch hitting performance?
Mr. Pujols is lurking.
Maybe Marilyn will get her opportunity with Albert. JD walks. Edgar's up there battling. Mike Matheny, and then could it be Albert Pujols? I'm not sure I want Woody out of this game, though.
The 2-2 ripped into left field for a base hit. The Cardinals' 6th hit on the night, and the first 2 in this bottom of the 7th have reached for St. Louis. It's our Nextel direct connect hit off the bat of Edgar Renteria. He's got a home run and a pair of singles. He's 3 for 3. He's using that Albert Pujols bat.
Well, if Albert comes up after Matheny, you sure hope there's a few hits in here. Boy, it could be an interesting situation. He'd bunt him to second and third and say Albert comes up to pinch hit. You'd have to be tempted to walk him.
Sure.
But I mean, with one out and the bases loaded, I'm not too sure you wouldn't say, I'll take that too.
I don't think he'd be tempted. I think that'd be automatic. First and second, nobody out. Room to the left side with the third baseman on the line and playing way in. He's about 2 steps off the line, and the shortstop Vasquez is towards the runner at second.
Our good buddy Luther Hackman's warming up in the pen out there. See the defense. Key is right now is third baseman flashing signs to his infielders. So he's kind of the quarterback. Now the catcher is talking about what they want to do. A lot of defensive options, and of course you never know. Mike may be swinging away too.
And he was, and it's a foul tip, and that caught the catcher.
You watch a shortstop, and shortstop on the first 2 plays runs over here and then stops. So he's in position in case he swings away. The third baseman is coming in, but he's also in position to come back to get the lead runner. Kindo comes down and talks with Matheny.
A count of 1 ball, 1 strike. Matheny squares, shows bunt early. Woody Williams on deck. First and second, nobody out. Mike deads it. Beautiful bunt. The first baseman only play with the second baseman covering over there at first. So Dave Hansen to Mark Loretta. The runners move up. And a decision here for Tony La Russa. You've got Woody Williams, but you also have Pujols, who is lurking in that dugout. I'm with you. I think you let Woody swing away.
I mean, you know, I want to keep Woody in the ball game.
Right.
And Woody is capable of getting that sacrifice fly. But boy, was that textbook bunting for Matheny. Absolutely. See how he goes down on a knee? The bat absolutely perfect. Has it in fair territory, so when you make contact, the only thing it can do is go in fair territory.
That is his second sacrifice on the night. It is second and third, one out. Padres up by a run. Woody Williams, the former Padre, who was allowed just one hit at the plate and a swing and a miss. Woody on the night, singled back in the third inning, and he struck out looking with a man on in the fifth.
Woody Williams. Now it's not beyond putting down a squeeze too.
As well as he handles the bat. Can do some things here with Woody. The next to him.
How about a wild pitch? Nice job by Bennett to block that ball in the dirt. And watch Woody as he looks the ball in the dirt, and then he tells the runner at third, JD, hold it.
A count of 1 ball, 1 strike on Woody Williams, second and third. Hard waiting on deck. Woody out in front of it. 1-2.
Woody a little over anxious. 2 off-speed pitches have gotten him in trouble.
He went up and in on his previous at bat. He froze him with a pitch also in that last at bat. 2-2. That one low and away.
Bench is trying to get to the Padres, are trying to get their outfielders to come in.
Woody into left field. Drew tagging up from third base. They're going to challenge him. Play at the plate. He is safe, and this game is tied up.
Cardinals catch a tremendous break on a real high bounce. It's going to be a bang bang play at the plate, but the throw, and remember, this is a brand new infield grass. It is not really seated well, or it's rolled out there, but it hasn't taken hold. A breaking ball and lifts it to shallow left field. Has his momentum, but he really didn't take advantage. Not a strong throw, but look at this high bounce, and that is why JD is safe underneath the tag.
And they are going to appeal, so the third walk comes around to score. That's JD Drew. Bo Hart is the hitter. Lawrence steps off and a throw to the third base bag, and
home plate umpire makes the call as the rotation third base umpire goes out to check and make sure the catch is in the air out and left, so the home plate umpire has the responsibility of seeing if the runner at third leaves too soon.
Brand new ball game, and Woody's still in the game. It's 2-2. Let's see if Bo Hart can untie it with a 2-out hit.
Happens when you got a pitcher that can help himself, whether it's sacrificing, swinging the bat, getting a base hit.
Bo has hit the ball hard, very hard 3 times up. He is singled back in the first and grounded out sharply to the third baseman Burrows twice.
Here's the throw again. Now watch the high bounce. And that was the difference right there. If that ball scooted like it would.
Hart up the middle, base hit, and he unties it. His 11th RBI, and it's 3-2 St. Louis. A 2-out base hit RBI for Bo Hart.
And another multi-hit game for Bo. And the Cardinals have the 3-2 lead with Woody still in the game. Breaking ball kind of sitting out there, not as sharp as it was earlier in the game. And he just hits it back up the middle, scoring Edgar Renteria. Edgar 3 hits and 2 runs scored. And Bochy's going to go to his bullpen, and we'll see if the former Cardinal Luther Hackman comes out.
So Bo Hart 4 times up, 2 base hits. He hit the ball hard all 4 times. And he comes up with a huge 2-out base hit to make it 3-2 Cardinals. Not a bad outing by Lawrence. It's going to be the left-hander Mike Matthews out of the bullpen, the former Cardinal. This call to the bullpen brought to you by the Renaissance Grand Hotel. We'll break down Matthews' season so far when we come back. Let's go back to the appeal by San Diego. That's J.D. Drew, the runner, and he did not leave early. That is a good call by the umpiring crew. He scores the tying run. Then Bo Hart comes up with 2 outs and delivers a base hit up the middle off of Lawrence, the starter for San Diego, to make it 3-2. And it leads us to the left-hander Mike Matthews in for San Diego, former Cardinal left-hander. Remember, he was in that trade with Milwaukee, brought over Jamie Wright. And Matthews has wound up with San Diego, appearing for the 45th time. Opponents hitting .271 against him. First man that'll face is Paul Merrill. Going to check on Hart, the runner at first base.
Actually, left-handed batters have hit a little bit better against Mike. .281 versus .264 for the right-handers. Claimed off of waivers from Milwaukee on March 26th. Told me that Ned Yost, it was a pleasure going to spring training with Ned, the new Milwaukee manager. Said the organization very open with him. Said they were going to keep a couple Rule 5 guys as they're in a rebuilding mode for the last couple decades.
Edmonds on deck. The next 2, Paul Merrill. Hart is running. Throw down to second, and goodbye. But Bo Hart delivers in the clutch with a 2-out base hit to score Edgar Renteria, who's 3 for 3 on the night. Cardinals regain the lead. Woody back to the mound. 8th inning coming up. It's a grand slam for Torres. $2,500 cash back or 0% financing for 60 months to qualified buyers. Ford and your quality Ford stores, your home run to Cardinal baseball fun. We remind you after the game, it's the Midwest Sports Report, the team of the week. You can call into Fox as well, plus a complete post-game wrap-up from this ball game here. Gary Matthews Jr., the batter. San Diego with just 1 hit on the night. And it's 2-0 on Matthews Jr., who was grounded out a couple of times, once to second, the other time to short.
Originally drafted by the Padres back in '93. He's played for 5 different big league clubs now.
I thought he would stick around with Baltimore. He really played well for the Orioles, and he was with Chicago. He's bounced around, like you said, 5 different clubs. And he's got some talent.
He appeared in 41 games with Baltimore. Only hit .204. 12 doubles, 2 home runs, 20 RBIs, 21 runs scored. And then he was claimed off of waivers by the Padres on May 23rd. Played with the Padres, the Cubs, the Pirates, the Mets, and Orioles. And now the second stint with these guys.
And just the second hit tonight for San Diego off the bat of Gary Matthews Jr. He's a stolen base threat over there. A leadoff hit in the 8th for San Diego.
A good piece of hitting right there. The pitch out away from him. Didn't try and do too much with it. Lines it into left. And
it's not his tongue, Al.
Okay.
I know you were going that direction. You're wondering about Jason Isringhausen. His last opportunity to pitch in a ball game was Wednesday against the Dodgers. So you would figure he'd be set to go tonight.
And the problem, Ben, is keeping him sharp.
Ground ball. Tino. Low throw. And everybody's going to be safe. Now it's a dangerous spot with first and second. And nobody out.
We have not played heads-up baseball of late. Only the 3rd error of the year for Tino Martinez, but comes at a terrible time. Sinker he throws to Renteria and gets away from him. Then he gets tangled up with the base runner. It's a tough play for the first baseman because he's throwing it into the runner. And your first baseman, or your shortstop's going there. He's anticipating the ball at the bag and he throws it behind him. That's why a lot of people like a left-handed throwing first baseman. That's a much easier throw for them.
Good point. Well, sacrifice situation here for Gary Bennett, who walked and scored on the 2-run home run by Mark Kotsay. And that Kotsay home run broke up a no-hitter back in the 6th. A lefty and a righty throwing for St. Louis.
And looks like Klesko is at the on-deck circle. So you can see why Steve Klein and Eldred are up in the pin.
Bunted left side. Deaden. Rollins only play to first. Bohart covering. That's out number 1. Second and third. Let's see if the Cardinals can't get out of this jam.
He does a nice job bunting it hard enough to where it's by Woody Williams and Rowan has to come in and retrieve it. Thought it was going to hang up there for a little bit, but Scotty couldn't get in there and catch in the air, so there's only one play, is to first base.
So Klesko will be the hitter, and here comes Dave Duncan. And Ryan Klesko off to a fine start in that first half for San Diego. Got Kotsay on deck. Team leading 19th home run Monday for Ryan Klesko.
He's been sick for the last 3 days with a flu, and he's 1 for 7 as a pinch hitter.
He's got home runs in 4 of the last 7 games. Keep cool as the season heats up. Sport your summer threads. Get your MLB authentic caps, jerseys, t-shirts, and more at STLCardinals.com. The STLCardinals.com shop for all things baseball. Woody against Klesko. Second and third, 1 out. That is pitch number 97 from Woody Williams. And it misses into Klesko.
Got a base open here. First base, but that probably would knock him out of the ball game. So that's one of those tough situations.
Big pitch here. The 1-0 delivery. Make it 2-0.
Trying to get that pop-up or strikeout. And Woody is asking,
is it up or is it in?
Yeah, and should be allowed to ask that. See, in his career, not much against Woody Williams.
With 2 on, the 2-0 delivery. 3-0, and first base is open.
Now, don't let this guy beat you, but if you walk him, you're out of the game.
Yep. And Woody steps off with second and third. Man at third is Gary Matthews Jr. and Vasquez, the runner, at second. We're in the 8th with 1 out. The 3-0 pitch. Taken for a ball. The bases are loaded. And that's the second walk that Woody has issued tonight.
Tough decision for Tony. Had a perfect game going for 5 1/3 innings, and he walks Bennett. Sacrifice him to second back in the 6th inning, and then a 2-run home run by Kotsay, who's standing at the plate.
And it was Kotsay that broke up the no-hitter. This was back in the 6th inning. After a walk to Gary Bennett, Kotsay went deep. First pitch to him here is a ball in the dirt. Cardinals do have a lefty throwing, now stopped. That's Klein. And I agree with this move. I think you let Woody, you know, he's gotten this far. You let him compete, and if he wins it, he wins it. If he loses it, it falls on his shoulders too. But it's not out of his hands.
Yeah, he's too much of a warrior Remember, he tied the game before Bo Hart gave him a 3-2 lead.
And a ground ball to Tino. Play at the plate. Force play. Got him. He got him. And there's 2 outs. Esteban Yan now throwing in the bullpen.
Right here, no panic. Force play at the plate.
And remember, earlier this inning, it was Tino with an error, a throwing error, and that made it first and second, nobody out. And he atones for that. Let's see if Woody can't get out of it. And Matheny's going to go out there and talk it over with Woody Williams. The batter will be Loretta. And now we talked about Mark Loretta, 3 for 4 with a run scored and 2 RBIs yesterday. Came into the ball game tonight with a 10-game hitting streak on the line. He has flied to center twice and struck out swinging. 1 grand slam in his career.
10-game hitting streak during that time, 488. And in his last 36 games, Mark Loretta's hit 380. So Woody's held him in check the first 3 times. Can he do it a 4th?
And the first pitch misses low and away. The pitch count for Woody Williams tonight at 103. Very efficient with 65 strikes and 38 balls.
Well, you're trying desperately to get him his 12th win, but this could be the last batter he faces. And you got Burrows.
2-0. Bases loaded, 2 outs.
Remember, he walked 2 here tonight, and that's right about his average, a little higher than his average.
Loretta batting .315. Popped up. Right side. Shallow right field. Bo Hart is there along with Drew. JD takes it. With the bases loaded, 1 out. San Diego cannot cash in. And a standing O as we go to break for Woody Williams. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Net was brought to you by Budweiser. The best things in life are the things that are true. Budweiser. 3-2 St. Louis as we welcome you back to downtown St. Louis and Busch Stadium. Unbelievable. This guy is still pitching in the major leagues. Appearing for the 39th time this season, Jesse Orosco. Orosco, here are some numbers for you. The all-time leader in games pitched. This will be 1,225 here tonight. All-time leader in relief appearances. Part of our call to the bullpen brought to you by the Renaissance Grand Hotel. He is one of only 3 active players to have pitched in 1,000 games and one of 8 pitchers to have pitched in 1,000 games or more, but only 3 active. Plesac, Franco, and this man Orosco. 3-2 St. Louis. And Isringhausen looming in the bullpen. Last time he pitched Wednesday against Los Angeles. Here's Eduardo Perez. A chance for Woody Williams at victory number 12. The Cardinals can hold on. Some insurance would be nice. Perez pinch hitting now for Palmeiro. He was left standing at the plate after Bo Hart was caught stealing. And congratulations for Woody Williams in his final start before the All-Star break.
His teammates appreciate his all-around effort tonight with the bat, and particularly on the mound, and particularly picking up Tino Martinez. Eduardo swing the bat, but that ball way outside.
0-2 the count. No balls and 2 strikes on Perez. In the hole now. And Eduardo drills it into deep left field. Rondell White is back, and he's got it. Cardinal fans, look for the Welch's Squeezable Spreads display at your local Schnuck store for the opportunity to register to win the Welch's Cardinals Ultimate Squeeze Play Prize Package. The first 250 that sent in their registration will receive a Cardinals ticket voucher, good for the 2 Terrace Reserve tickets this season. Here's Edmonds with 1 out, having a conversation with our home plate umpire.
I'm sure Jimmy was just sort of backing up Perez on that ball, and he starts jawing at him, and Jim Edmonds saying, hey, wait a minute, you know, stay in there, call the game, don't be worrying about these things. Jim does not get heated and does not say magic words, so he can get away with a lot more than some of the other guys.
With 1 out, he'll step in. 0 for 1 in the ball game tonight. 33,725 in attendance. First pitch to Edmonds. High fly ball. Right center field. Has a chance at the wall. Yes, sir. Edmonds with number 28.
Tell an umpire that his strike zone was wrong on the guy ahead of me. And that is a big insurance run. Set up away, and look at the catcher. Reaches up and in the middle of the plate, and Edmonds hits his 28th home run. That ties Bonds, as far as we know, for the National League lead. And does that tie Delgado also?
It ties Delgado, so that's your major league leader right there, Jim Edmonds, with 28 home runs. And that's it for Orozco. He's been knocked out of the ball game. Edmonds on base 3 times tonight with a pair of walks and that solo home run, and that is big, some insurance for Jimmy and the Cardinals. With 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th, 4-2 Cardinals. We'll step aside. New pitcher coming in. Our Pennzoil protection play of the game, and with the bases loaded, 1 out, Mark Kotze hits it to Tina Martinez for a force play. Jay Watasek is now the new pitcher for San Diego, appearing for the 15th time. 1-1 on the season, a couple of saves under his belt. And for the first time tonight, a look at Albert Pujols with 1 out and nobody on. Pujols takes a ball up and away, and a much needed night off for Albert. And quite a bullet for Tony La Russa to have off his bench. Some insurance provided by Edmonds with a solo home run, his 28th. He could have 30 before the All-Star break. 2-0.
Some people may remember Watasek, who Pujols was facing. Back in 1993, Watasek signed with the Cardinals, 2nd round selection, the first-year player draft. Acquired by the Athletics with outfielder Alan Battle and right-handed pitcher Carl Dale and Brett Wagner in exchange for Todd Stottlemyre.
3-0. Jarring my memory with some of those names.
Alan Battle?
Yeah, Battle was the one that.
Brett Wagner was also a former #1 draft pick of the Cardinals, and he went over to the Athletics and about 1 year called it quits.
I remember that. On 3-0, Pujols drives this one high in the air, left center field at the track, and it's going to stay in the ballpark. Just missed it.
Got a little excited, Danny.
I thought that one.
And it wasn't even a full moon.
I'm telling you, just missed it.
Got it up in the air and didn't quite have the distance.
Some of the fans thought the same thing I was. They're trying to push it out there. So Pujols 0 for 1 in pinch hitting for Tina Martinez, and now the batter, Scott Rowland, with 2 outs. Isringhausen has been throwing in the bullpen.
He's hit home runs the last 2 nights. 0 for 3 right now. There's Izzy.
A chance for Woody Williams at win number 12 if the Cardinals can hold on. Russ Ortiz of Atlanta with 12. Sean Chacon of Colorado with 11. Woody with 11. Kevin Millwood has 10 for the Phillies, and Kevin Brown with 10. 4 others with 9 wins.
So what? Chacon and Brown, both of them makes the All-Star team, but on the disabled list won't be able to play.
Right. 2-2 on Scott Rowland. 0 for 3 tonight.
And Edmonds, I'm sure, talking about the umpire and what he said. And you know, when Perez got into it a little bit.
Fought off by Rowland, and a good play made by the second baseman, Loretta. We head to the 9th inning. Edmonds, his league leading 28. And it's now 4-2 St. Louis. Tonight's play of the game brought to you by Budweiser. The best things in life are the things that are true. Budweiser. Edmonds with number 28, tied now with Barry Bonds in the National League and the league lead as well. And Carlos Delgado, those 3 leading in the home run department. Edmonds, our Budweiser play of the game. Home field advantage goes to the family arriving at the game in their Ford Windstar, now with $3,000 cash back or 0% financing for 60 months. Ford and your quality Ford stores, your home run to Cardinal baseball fun.
And talking about fun, you see Isringhausen come in here, try to pick up his 4th save. 3 for 3 on the year. I look up on the scoreboard, and Cincinnati has a 6-0 lead over Milwaukee. Houston is leading 4-1 over Pittsburgh. Cubbies already lost today. So the Pirates can't slow down that machine.
You saw the changes for the Cardinals. Robinson out there in left, and Pujols takes over for Tina Martinez at first base. League leader in saves is John Smoltz with 34. 93 there from Izzy. A ball and a strike. And the Cardinals still have to go through 3, 4, and 5 in the order. Sean Burroughs, Dave Hansen, and Rondell White. Woody Williams in line for the victory if the Cardinals can hold on. That would be number 12. Good pitch. 1-2. Burroughs on the night is 0 for 3. 3 pop outs on the infield. $33,725 in attendance tonight.
Fastball in.
And up the middle past Bo Hart. And the tying run steps towards the plate. Correct me if I'm wrong. Izzy is only allowed, since coming to St. Louis and signing as a free agent, 1 home run, and that was to Bonds, right?
Yes, in a non-save situation. Here he tries to throw a ball down and in, and Burroughs gets enough of it to muscle it through the infield. Opponents were only batting 184 against Izzy.
Hansen will be there with nobody out. Double play would be nice. Fastball in there for a strike.
He didn't like that call. Thought that ball was low. Hansen, a good fastball hitter. Remember early in his career when he was with the Dodgers, he had some classic pinch hit appearances against Lee Smith.
Yeah. Ground ball. Pujols. A throw to second for 1. On to first. Double play. Dan Potash is standing by with a look at the Midwest Sports Report.
Hi, I'm Dan Potash. Coming up after the game on the Busch Light Midwest Sports Report, complete Cardinal postgame coverage, your phone calls at 1-888-RING-FOX, plus a look at the Rams' outside linebackers. That and much more is coming up right after the game. Now, it's back to Dan and Al.
Okay, Dan, thank you very much. 2 outs, nobody on. 4-2 St. Louis over San Diego, 9th inning. Rondell White, the hitter. Into center. This should do it. Woody, folks. 12-game winner before the All-Star break. Isringhausen the save. 4-2 the final. The Cardinals break that 4-game losing streak. For our Bud Sports crew and Al Rabowski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Thanks for being with us. We'll be right back with a complete post-game report. Now it's time for the Midwest Sports Report. Let's send it to the studio.